So today we're talking about laminated brows, and I'm going to be using affordable drugstore products. The reason that I'm doing this video is because I was at a 4th of July party and I was talking to someone, shout out to Helen if you happen to come across this video, and I was like, what finish do you want for your brows? And she was like, laminated. And I was like, I got you. So you might know that soap is one of my favorite recommendations. Dr. Bronner's, people recommend pears because it's a little bit more clear, or African black soap if you have dark hair. That's a fantastic option. However, sometimes soap can leave a little bit of a residue and it can be kind of difficult to work with. So I think the best thing to achieve this look with is the e.l.f. Brow Lift. This is very similar to the Anastasia, what's it called? The Anastasia one. I know a lot of people swear by that one. This is very similar. It's also a drugstore version. It's obviously e.l.f. This is what we're going to be using today. The first thing that you want to do is double check the length of your brows. So if you want laminated brows, you are going to be sticking these to your skin, your hair to your skin. Now, if you have incredibly long brow hairs and you brush them up and they like come up here, maybe you don't want your eyebrows to be like 2 inches thick. You know what I mean? So first thing you should do is take a spoolie and just kind of brush them up and see where are they going to land when I stick them straight up. Please don't be afraid to trim your brows. You can trim them. It's not the same as like plucking them over and over again. They will grow. So I would suggest, checking it out, seeing what it's like. I just trimmed mine recently, so I can kind of see. There is this area of my brows, which I leave a little bit longer because the tail end of my brow is a little bit more sparse. So I tend to not trim these brow hairs, and I'll show you how I work with that. Next, you want to do this before you do your foundation. If you wear foundation and you have done this kind of thing or attempted it after applying your foundation, you may notice that it tends to kind of like mix in with your foundation, maybe leave kind of like a weird line or residue up here. I prefer, because we're going to be like kind of pressing the brow hairs to our skin, to do it before I even apply my foundation. So right now I'm not wearing any foundation. I'm wearing a little bit of concealer underneath my eyes and around my nose. So, e.l.f. I'm also going to be using, this isn't sponsored by the way, the e.l.f. Brow Duo. It has a little angled situation and then like a little spoolie. So this is a clear gel, brow gel. So what I'm going to do is load up, actually it helps to angle it. I'm just going to bend this guy a little bit. You can do it gently, just a little bit so that you can like get in there like that. So I'm going to load up my spoolie, okay, with like a decent amount. Looks gross. And now I'm going to show you on this one. I'm going to brush it all through my brow hairs in an upward motion to begin with. If you have incredibly stubborn, thick hair, you can kind of like go against the grain to make sure that you're just coating every bit. Okay, but you really need like that amount to achieve what you want. Now you can do like angled if you want. Like there isn't just one way to do it. You can totally do angled like that, so that they're just like slick against your skin. You can also, and what I see most often, brush them straight up. Now you can kind of see where I like missed some trimming. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to brush them straight up to begin with. This is one option. Depends on like what you're going for, This I think makes me look a little bit like way too surprised, So what I'm going to do, I love this part to be like nice and straight up like that because it kind of separates them. And then I'm going to start angling, but still pressing like tight firm against my skin. So now I'm going to angle this end like that so that it's not sticking completely straight up. Now what you want to do, and e.l.f. actually has an applicator for this. It's like a flat thing. Use your finger to press against those hairs, again, in the direction that like you laid them, because this is really going to keep them straight. Now, if you mess up a little bit or if like something moves, you can go in with your spoolie and just kind of like I want to move this into this place, this into this place. Maybe I want to angle this a little bit more, bring this up. Might take a little back and forth. This stuff doesn't set like way too fast, so you have time. And then you just want to gently make sure that you're pressing it into place. Now, around the edges, I can kind of like use my finger. You can go with a makeup wipe to wipe that stuff away. Do I want them to be like more up? I feel like that's what laminated brows are supposed to be. Maybe I'll put them more up. But this is why I think doing this after your foundation can get really tricky, because you're kind of like mixing that product in with like where your foundation would be. By doing this, you can like apply your foundation around it or use like a little concealer brush or whatever if you need like more detail, you know. And if you feel like the hairs aren't staying in place perfectly, take your finger and just press right against everything. Just hold it in place for a while. It's like waiting for like a hair gel to set or something, you know? Now, if you have super full brows and you don't need to fill them, then you're done, you know? But if you're like me and you have sparse areas, like I have quite a bit of fullness here and it's like pretty sparse in the tail, I want to balance that. So 2 ways that I like to do that is either using a brow powder or a brow pen, or both, depending on how filled you want them to be. And this is the e.l.f. flat, it's an eyeliner brush, it's just a flat brush. I'm gonna pick up, you obviously wanna wait for the gel to set. I'm gonna pick up some brow powder. I always just mix them. And then I like to just kind of really gently brush it, starting at the tail, into those hairs. You don't want to disturb the product, so you can kind of just like gently stamp it if you want. You can even like turn your brush and kind of like do this kind of thing if you want to sort of like create a little more shape. Obviously you can make it as thick as you want. If you want them to be a little bit thinner, you can bring it in, like just inside the line that you've created. Obviously if you want to make them thicker, you can go just outside. And then if you want a little bit more definition, you know, I love a brow pen. This one is by Milani. This is in the shade Soft Brown. I'm just gonna run this at the tail, just in the areas where it's very sparse. So this helps you to draw in individual brow hairs. If you feel like you try using a pen and it just ends up making, or honestly, any brow product, and it just ends up making your brows look like blocks. If you have black hair, you don't necessarily have to use a black brow product. You can use like an ash brown or even a taupe. So try using something that's like a lot lighter if you have really, really dark brow hairs and you feel like they just end up like with no dimension. That's a really good tip. All right, guys, so that is it. Those are my tips for laminated brows. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. That's it. I think it's nice. Nice and flat. It's not going anywhere, you know what I mean? So different than the other one. I look skeptical on my left side. This side looks like I know what's up. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon. Goodbye.